Now, I'm sure if you're anything like me and are enjoying this game as much as I am, you're likely pretty tired of seeing weapons and builds like this one. With the grinding nature of Monster Hunter's gameplay loop, the race for high damage is inevitable, if not essential, even in the player's earliest understandings of the game. By the time you've reached the end of all story-based hub quests, you'll probably have already crafted a set revolving around a comparably high damage output and affinity. And let's be honest, you were probably using a Nargacuga weapon anyways. If you're anything like me, staying in the training area and crunching for the highest numbers just doesn't cut it. I want to make something bad on purpose. I want to stretch the complexity of a weapon to its absolute limit, and I think for the Insect Glaive this may be about as intricate as it gets. Keeping with my consistently ridiculous talisman look, I was able to meld this very nice but very niche little necklace. With Poison Attack 2 and Recovery Up 2, my initial hope was that this would be best for a Poison Hunting Horn with recovery songs, but at this moment the Toxic Fungus Axe is the only option, and it's currently capped at a rarity 4, and I'm intentionally posting this before the 3.0 update, in the hopes that either my big stinky saxophone or any other viable poison weapon receives an upgrade that fully optimizes the build. With the Fungus Axe not being a viable option at the moment, my next idea, and the subject of this video, was to fully maximize the healing potential of powder insects and possibly make them more appealing to play. As luck would have it, there's actually a powder insect that both deals poison and heals the player too. This bug and talisman were a match made in heaven, but that said, with recovery up at a level 2 decoration and poison attack at a level 1, both can be implemented fairly easily with decorations, and you can use your preferred talisman instead. I'd also like to note ahead of time that while I opted to use the Chameleos Glaive in hopes that it will receive upgrades in 3.0 and beyond, as of this recording, the Rathian Queen Regalia is definitely the most optimal substitute for damage output with this playstyle, albeit sacrificing a level 2 slot, 2 level 1 slots, and roughly 12 to 15 points of poison buildup. So, all of this aside, here's the set. Caster's Rod 1 is the weapon. It has low raw attack, but with only 3 Handicraft, you can reach White Sharpness. The highest base poison damage of any glaive by far, and we need all of the decoration slots we can get, so for me this weapon feels very comfortable. I opted for Chameleos Soul over a small damage buff of Attack 2, solely because in addition to 3 other buffs, it adds a very small chance for a big heal on any hit, and this heal seems to be affected by a recovery up as well. Lady Pavise, I'm probably butchering that name, is your Kinsect, and it's key for making this idea work, seeing as it provides heals in combat, exponentiates your poison buildup, and also deals stun damage to the face as a blunt type. I threw 1 protective polish on to maintain the sharpness and 2 grinder decos on the weapon. Kaiser Crown is a no-brainer for anything that hits for high affinity. You could make a fair argument for the Flame Seal eye patch here, but level 1 slots can be crucial for a poison build, and additional crit boost is very nice. I used the level 1 slot for a final grinder deco. Vaik Mail gives the most flexibility, and having a level 3 slot means we can slot half of our Handicraft in decos without sacrificing an armor piece. I used it for Handicraft, of course, as well as equipping a weakness exploit and the final poison attack skill. Sinister Gauntlets are crucial because even though we're almost required to use it for level 3 Handicraft, it provides an additional level 2 slot for most of our important skills. In this video, I equipped a medicine deco to maximize recovery up, but this can very easily be substituted for another protective polish or master's touch, razor sharp, etc. Anja Coil is very meta. Attack 2 with a level 2 and 2 level 1 slots is great for any build. I opted to equip another weakness exploit and 2 stamina thief decorations to maximize offensiveness. Ingot Greaves are also crucial here. Neither crit eye nor attack boost can be maxed effectively, but at level 4 attack boost provides its most cost-effective benefit by switching to a percentage-based increase. And crit eye, level 5, with full weakness exploit, you'll be capping at around 75% affinity, which is very reasonable for Glaive. The decoration slot also maxes Stamina Thief comfortably. Absolute Petalace for the health boost. Hypothetically, the goal is to make a weapon that heals itself while also dealing poison damage, so the more health the better. And of course, finally, the Talisman responsible for this terrible nonsense. Using the level 2 slot can max weakness exploit, and I opted for Handicraft 4 here, but that's just a personal preference. You could very easily use this level 3 slot to maximize any of your sharpness retention skills. And overall, any of the level 1 slots can be easily subbed for targeted resistances depending on the monster, or even flinch free if you're not embarrassed to take this into co-op. Here's what the stats look like after everything is applied. The raw damage is pretty abysmal, but the poison buildup with level 3 poison attack is impressive at 47, as well as a very cozy defense with the armor fully upgraded. A small amount of white sharpness provided by Handicraft 4 allows for a full triple aerial juggle and a diving wyvern at very least, but with this weapon, as well as any insect glaive that doesn't reach around 90 to 100% affinity on weak points, I would highly advise against fully charging up your diving wyvern with 3 juggles, as missing the crit on the final hit will lower your damage by upwards of 200, rendering the time invested in charging it completely worthless. Instead, this build focuses on modifying how you collect essences, how you use your advancing round slash counter and aerial attacks to maneuver, and expanding the lexicon of attacking moves you have in your arsenal, as well as eliminating the need for potions. For the typical Glaive player in Rise, especially with assist insects, your gameplay loop is limited to tagging the monster 2 or 3 times for your buffs, followed by fishing almost exclusively with Diving Wyvern and Tornado Slash for crit damage on the head. Using a powder insect like Lady Pavise provides a more nuanced approach. You can almost entirely substitute your standard ZR plus X collecting move for ZR plus R, marking with a projectile instead. Powder insects will automatically move to the mark spot and tag this first, but will also continue to mark nearby parts of the monster as it moves, both collecting additional essences you might have needed instead, and leaving powder clouds on each hit until its stamina is depleted. Lady Pavise specifically leaves either healing or poison clouds randomly, determined by the color of both the cloud, and amazingly the entire glaive glows different colors depending on the type it last created. The true benefit of this marking move is not only does each essence collection also leave an explosive cloud, but the projectile itself will detonate any cloud on hit, making it capable of dealing ranged poison damage on top of its intended use. Because so much of this insect process is now automated, you can engage much earlier and feel less obligated to fully buff before attacking, simply due to the fact that in the event your insect collects the specific buff that you need, sheathing, insect canceling in a recovery, or even simply waiting for its stamina to run out will all recall it. Additionally, the ZR marking swing can be used in close combat for continuing your insect's shenanigans, and seems to deal additional stun damage if it hits the head. The main issue with this strategy, however, is that in the recovery animation for many crucial attacks, there's a significant delay before you can perform either the marking projectile or swing, and in the recovery animation for a basic aerial attack or mid-air evade, there's a brief period of time in which even when you're holding ZR, neither a vault nor a marking shot can be performed and will actually interpret the input as if you aren't holding ZR at all, either rolling or sheathing your weapon respectively. This can be fairly annoying. However, like many other instances of this, both of these delay periods can be partially subverted by using a Kinsect cancel, simply recalling your Kinsect regardless of its position, whether it's out or on your arm. However, this more advanced technique becomes far more essential with the use of these moves when compared to basic Glaive Assist Kinsect gameplay. I don't recommend this level of spice for the faint of heart. Given that with this build your Kinsect will now be dropping clouds around the monster as you fight, another key change I find myself making is how the advancing round slash is implemented. Of course, if you find yourself getting hit a lot and using Wirefall to get back up and recover your Kinsect, you'll also constantly be setting up for a draw counter. This can help both defensively in a far more optimized way, as well as provide a vault for free, but more importantly, with the skill equipped as your standard combo, it can be used on the fly to not only evade, but also heal and detonate poison clouds by launching yourself into them. Using this attack over Leaping Slash helped many of the powder clouds feel more connected and within reach at a moment's notice. And in the event you need a more stable, grounded combo, pressing A with a neutral position on the left stick to start your combo will completely bypass the round slash altogether when it's equipped. So, all in all, whether you're looking to really change up your playstyle without swapping weapons, or looking for an excuse to finally try a non-assist Kinsect, or looking for a fun status or support build, I highly recommend giving this set a shot. It's definitely tricky and a positional modification to the Glaive's gameplay. It's a little bit like the Wabbajack from Skyrim, where all kinds of random things can happen every time you use it. But I've had a lot of fun trying it, and my hope is that it can only get better with the coming updates and eventually be comparable to other off-meta Glaives like Zinogre or Magnamalo. I decided to showcase the weapon on a Toby to highlight how fast the poison can proc at its most advantageous. Much of the frustration that comes from this specific monster when using the Glaive comes from how challenging it can be to collect the third essence, but with the Powder Insect, much of this process happened automatically. Multiple times during the hunt, I tanked enough damage to put myself near death, yet it would typically only take 2 or 3 healing powder clouds to reach full health again, in addition to each connecting swing having an additional chance to heal from Camellia's Soul. I included a few cool moments, as well as some critical misses from my recent stream on twitch.tv/sedentorium to finish up the video. If you like this and want to see more from me in Monster Hunter and many other games, then please consider subscribing or leaving a like or comment. It means a lot to me. And even come join us on stream if you'd like. Streams are definitely more crude and disorganized, but I like to have friends on and joke around while we play, so if that piques your interest, please don't be a stranger. Enjoy the rest of the video, and please feel free to share any other off-meta nonsense I might have inspired. Thanks for watching.
Oh.
Your days are numbered. Farewell. Nice. You're mine. Get ready. This is the end. Get ready.
Oh, he's going to sleep too.
Go.
Don't hit him. Don't do it.
This is the end.